We'll call the meeting to order. This is the City Commission meeting, Monday, September 25th, 2023. It's 5:30 p.m. Ask you to rise for the invocation and the pledge. Heavenly Father, we ask that you look over this group tonight, that you help us make good decisions for the city of Leesburg. We do this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We have no proclamations tonight, but we do have a presentation. Melissa, there you are.
Hello.
Right on cue.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Melissa Arriaga, Director of Human Resources. It's my pleasure to take this time to recognize employees for their years of service. And I'd like to thank ahead of time their family members that have joined us today and their coworkers to recognize these milestones in their careers. So we'll start off right there. With our first 5-year award goes to our senior police officer, Stefano D'Agostino. Congratulations. Congratulations, Stefano. Our next 5-year award goes to another senior police officer, Mr. Jonathan Hernandez. Congrats. Our next award goes to our 10-year award. It goes to one of our firefighter engineers, Leonidas Gonzalez. Congratulations. Aww. Congratulations, Leo. Our next award goes to, for 20 years, someone who has been with the library for that amount of time, Michelle Kaufman, a library assistant with the Leesburg Library. Congratulations. Now we'd like to recognize 2 of our 25-year employees. One of them is one of our operations supervisors in public works, Mr. Chad Conklin, 25 years. And our final award tonight, a 25-year award, goes to one of our police sergeants, Mr. David Robeson. Congratulations.
He's been here 25 years here, he knows.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melissa. We'll move on to item 4, that's public comment. This section is reserved for members of the public to bring up matters of concern or opportunities for praise. Issues brought up will not be discussed in detail at this meeting. Issues will either be referred to the proper staff or will be scheduled for consideration at a future City Commission meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, and would you please give your name and address when you address the board? Any public comment?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Evelyn Gould. I currently live at 312 Nebraska Avenue in Leesburg, Florida. I have been a resident of Lake County for over 20 years now, most of which have been in the city of Leesburg, and I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak before you today. I'm here to express a concern that I have about the way the city is afflicting many of its residents with code violations at a rate that makes it difficult at best for them to cure them. Many times those affected are elderly or such low socioeconomic status that taking care of their basic living needs tends to take on more importance. I'd like to ask you tonight as elected members to develop a program that will help to empower our residents to raise their level of ownership pride by assisting them, teaching them, or providing any means necessary to bring about a more permanent change for what the city hopes to accomplish in eliminating blight in certain areas of neighborhoods. I don't believe in a handout, but I do believe in a hand up. I have currently been working with a family whose uncle owns property here in Leesburg. It is a property located at 1138 East Main Street, which I later discovered was inundated with code violations. In an honest effort to salvage my negotiations with the family, we had agreed that I would exert my best efforts to remedy the situation as much as possible. For many months now, I have been working with code enforcement in maintaining the property and have been paying any delinquent taxes on the property. Recently, I learned from the family that due to financial burdens, they will not be able to move forward with probate at this time. And the city has also recently filed proceedings of foreclosure on the property. As a public constituent, I'd like to ask this board to consider a pause in the foreclosure proceedings and to set a meeting with me to discuss any possible avenues on how I can acquire this property that I have invested time, sweat equity, and money into. Thank you once again for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right. We'll move on now to item 5, the consent agenda. Routine items are placed on the consent agenda to expedite the meeting. If the commission or staff wish to discuss any item, the procedure is as follows. Pull the item or items from the consent agenda, vote on remaining items with one roll call vote, discuss each pulled item, and vote by roll call. Are there any items anyone would like to pull?
5C10.
5C10. Any others? What's that? Yeah, we got to pull 13 and 14 because we got to vote on those. Somebody pull those.
I'll make a motion, or I'd like to pull 13 and 14 as well.
Okay. All righty.
I'll make a motion to approve all remaining items.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry? Yes. Mayor Burry?
Yes. Okay. So would someone please introduce 5C10?
I'll introduce 5C10 to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, presenting a determination on the implementation of the PURPA, Public Utility Regulatory Policies Act, standards contained in the Energy Policy Act of 2005 and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
We need a second.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I just had a question on the 5C10. Is that something that's being mandated that we have to do to implement requirements to put charging stations into certain commercial developments and into multifamily developments?
No, sir. It's a requirement for PURPA that we investigate it. And so what this resolution is our findings of our investigation. And PURPA's encouraged us to do two things: investigate supply side demand. So that would be a system whereby, as the utility authority, we have the authority to actually control your thermostat, if you will, and that's high level, to curb usage during a demand time. We started this several years ago and ran into two instances where we had issues with it. One, when we did the smart grid system, we just never got the customer participation to have a demand control side, and we struggled to implement software that would do such a thing, knock down your thermostat in peak time, for example. The other issue we had with that was some of the other part of our demand side control response was a violation of the FMPA All Requirements Project, where we're not supposed to generate and we're not supposed to do anything that would affect our partners. And if you recall back then, we had that issue to where some of our shaving of the peak over our, which was went within our control, negatively impacted the members of the All Requirements Project. The second thing is to investigate the use of the EV charging stations and to implement these when we can. And we've had issues with that too, as far as no response, difficult places to locate it. So PURPA's just asking us to investigate these things. Our responses back to them is we've looked into it and we've struggled for these reasons and will continue, and that response satisfies the PURPA request.
So it's just a request that we look into it. It's not going to go into our LDRs.
Not unless you put them there.
No, I was going to say, because I'm not in favor of it. I mean, start mandating these things in subdivisions and certain commercial applications. I might just take a step further and tell them they got to put gas stations in these subdivisions too. I mean, I just don't think that's somewhere we should go. I mean, if it's something we have to do to meet somebody's requirement that we looked into it, then I'm fine with it. But I definitely would not be in favor of putting it in our LDRs on requiring these things to go in.
Just a question, what about apartments?
No, I just don't think we should get into putting these things, require them to be put in anywhere. I mean, if the state or the federal government wants to put them in, or if the developer himself decides, hey, I want to put them in, hey, more power to you, knock yourself out, put them in.
Yeah.
I just don't think as a city we should ever get to the point where we're requiring them to go in.
I have a question. How would we accommodate those that are for electrical vehicles?
We're not.
Okay, so that's just not an option.
Well, I mean,
We're not to that point.
Yeah, the long
what-
story short is PURPA is asking us to look into these various electrical industry type things, and we're responding back saying, we've done this, we've looked into it, and at this time, it doesn't work for us.
Okay.
And that response satisfies the PURPA request to investigate these alternative methods.
Okay.
I mean, as long as tonight's approval of it is not going to put it
No.
as a resolution or something into our LDRs.
No,
I mean, if we just want to say we did what you asked, but and it's not moving any farther than that I'm okay with it. But I want to make sure that, like I said, at least in my opinion, we just don't want to getting into requiring these stations and private developments. If they want to put it in, hey, great. But if they don't, I don't think we really should get into requiring it.
Yeah, I can understand the concern. I just, the future seems to be in electric vehicles.
Well, I
So
mean,
when you
if-
start with apartments and things.
But if the future's going to go that way,
Yeah,
businesses who want to provide that service will. I don't know a developer of a subdivision should be required to put them in.
Well, I mean, we require a lot of things for them to put in.
Yeah, well,
You know?
I mean, like I said, where do you draw the line now? We're going to start requiring gas stations in these places too? I mean, fuel-powered vehicles are not going nowhere for a long time.
Oh, I agree with you there.
So, I mean, like I said, I think you got to draw the line to not get silly with some of these requirements.
Understand.
And I'm sure,
I understand your position.
and I'm sure it would be a
You know.
tremendous expense to the developer to put these in, which is going to resort back to the people buying it, and they're going to pay that fee. I mean, they're going to be paying for it, even though they're not even going to use it, or a lot of them won't. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
got you.
As long as what we're approving tonight is just that we looked into it, but that's it.
At this point in time,
Yes.
that we are not moving in that direction.
Okay.
Right. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry? Yes. Commissioner Connell?
Yes, based on our discussion.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. Okay, someone please introduce 5C13.
I'll introduce 5C13, be read by title only.
Excuse me. Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, appointing 1 regular and 2 alternate members to the Leesburg Planning Commission and providing an effective date.
For approval.
A second.
Discussion. We have, how many, is there a slate that you can pull up right now?
It's the 1 position and 2 alternates, correct?
Yes,
One
sir.
is the first.
Once you
There we
appoint the regular representative, that's the term being vacated by Mr. Senate, who has asked for reappointment.
Right.
And there's
Any other
And
a couple other names on there that would qualify for appointment to the full-time
Okay.
position.
So we'll start with the planning committees. Would any of the candidates like to come up to the mic and give us your stump speech?
My name is Angela Wade. I live at 218 Prince Drive in Leesburg. My background is I have been a small business owner up until 2021. Previously, I have been a consumer advocate to the board in Port Charlotte, Florida. For 5 years, I planned and executed electronic trade shows in Virginia, Maryland, and the Carolinas. What I feel I can bring to the board is a strong background in logistics. For 15 years, I worked for the Department of Defense as a logistics specialist. I was a JS-12, if that means anything to anybody in here, if they know the government structure. I was a team leader for 5 logistics specialists also. We provided full logistic oversight to both classified and unclassified positions for the Department of Defense. I'm retired. I have the time and the willingness to spend on a board. I'm a full-time resident of Leesburg, and I have a keen interest in the utilization and responsible growth of my community. Thank you.
Anyone else interested in the Planning and Zoning Commission?
Good evening. I'm Tim Sennett. I'm a lifelong resident of Leesburg. I live at 704 West Boyle Street. I have served on the Planning and Zoning Commission prior. I lost track if it was 11 or 13 years. And then when I got married, I moved up to Lady Lake, so I had to step down, though the city manager at that time asked me to stay on it, but I didn't. And while I was there, I moved into the villages, and where I served as the chairman of District 10. Then when I moved back to Leesburg, I applied to get back on here again because I really enjoyed it and like serving Leesburg. And I've been on for 2 years, and I'm currently the chairman. That's me in a nutshell. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Senate.
Darren Ackerman, 717 Boylston Street, right across the road over here. So this is my third time coming up here over the past 5 years for this position. My family and I moved here in 2016, 2017. My qualifications are, I like the usage of logistics, by the way, but I'm a commercial superintendent. So I build very large projects. I've got $350 million worth of projects under my belt just in the state of Florida. That's $600 million in Georgia and over $200 million in the state of Montana. So these are very large projects with huge infrastructure, huge logistics, huge planning, huge management. I think I can bring something to the table here to try to foresight problems in future projects, things like that not a lot of other people can bring to the table. So I appreciate it.
I do have a question for you, sir.
Yeah.
With your job as a commercial superintendent for a large commercial company, would you be available for these meetings, or do you work out of town a lot?
No, I'm here in town. We're out of Orlando. So I'm here with this company now, and I've been with them for 6 years.
Okay, so they never send you like long distance?
Nah, I don't work out of town. That was the reason for going with them. So.
Okay, all right.
Yep, thank you.
Sir. What was his name? Darren.
Leave it on the floor. Yeah. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and chair people. My name is Kenneth Simeone. I live at 1425 Mosswood Drive in Leesburg. It's Beverly Point. Short history, my wife and I used to come up here camping. We stayed at Lake Griffin State Park looking for a place to live. We really liked Leesburg. We enjoyed the area, and we started looking for a home here. I'm a retired master electrician and own my own contracting business since 1995. I was vice president of my homeowners association in Port Charlotte, Florida, and I was also head of the Architectural Review Board for 6 years until moving here. So I was currently active for all those years. The Architectural Review Board, which reviewed plans, specs for new homes, additions, property improvements, and all the above. I've been on the Planning and Zoning Board as an alternate for the past year, and would like to be there full term. So I have a home here, a nice home, and would like to see Leesburg prosper and grow, but still be able to keep the small town feel for our community now and for future generations. Thank you.
And what was it? You get the list, sir?
Any other candidates? Discussion.
Can you clarify, Andy? I know we just talked about it before the meeting. They have to be within the service area or
in the city.
In the city of Leesburg. So the list that says no in the city of Leesburg, those candidates cannot qualify. Then why do we have a current alternate that's not on there?
Because we messed up.
Okay.
So who doesn't live?
Okay, so just for clarification, there's 4 people that applied that don't meet the qualifications. One of them being an alternate that's already been on there. Rosalind Martin, Angela Wade, and David Johnson. So those candidates do not qualify for this,
For the planning and zoning.
for the planning and zoning. So, just-
Looking for a motion for.
How many, I mean, because I don't have it in front of me here, I'm just going off the agenda itself. How many positions are available?
we have a chair, we have one
One
term
full-time.
and 2 alternates.
Okay. All right. Okay, I mean, I'll make a motion to give the full-time chairman position back to Mr. Senate.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Grant, do you want alternates or do them all separate?
Yes, sir. I think we can do them all separate at
That'd
this
be
point.
fine. Okay. So we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Barry,
Yes.
Commissioner Connell,
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman,
Yes.
Mayor Burry.
Yes. Okay, so let's move to an alternate.
I'd like to make a motion for one alternate to be Darren Ackerman.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Connell,
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman,
Yes.
Commissioner Barry,
Yes.
Mayor Burry.
Yes. We need to select one more alternate.
I'd like to nominate, I didn't write her
Karen?
name down,
Or Angela?
the lady who came up first.
She doesn't.
Oh,
doesn't
I'm
live-
sorry.
She doesn't live in the city of Leesburg.
Oh, okay.
So the other person that showed up was Mr. Ken Simone.
Oh, yes, good. Then, yeah, I'm okay. I'm good with that if you want to make that.
I'll make a motion to make the other alternate Mr. Ken Simeon.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Reisman,
Yes.
Commissioner Barry,
Yes.
Commissioner Connell,
Yes.
Mayor Burry.
Yes. So while we have this out, we have one alternate, or this that is not in the city, but she's no longer on as an alternate. Gotcha. Just wanted to make sure that we got that cleaned up. There you go. Thank you very
We
much.
have a full slate of P and Z members now with that motion.
Thank you very much. Okay, so someone please introduce 5C14.
I'll introduce 5C14 to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, appointing one Library Advisory Board member to a 5-year term ending September 30th, 2028, and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right. Do we have any of the candidates for the library board here tonight?
Hi, my name is Alice Parrott. I live 5033 Sawgrass Lake Circle, and that's Leesburg. The reason I would like to be reappointed to the library board is because I see the importance of having a library that is available and accessible to everyone. And I feel that the Leesburg Library offers that. There's multiple ways to access the library. You can do digital, virtual, you can, it doesn't matter what your social economic level is, it's available. And the services that they're offering, it's not just books, but they have programs. They have programs for children all the way up to seniors, and that's unique for our area because a lot of the libraries, they focus on our senior population, but Leesburg offers it all. I work as a mental health therapist, and I in schools, so I see and value the importance of learning, and that learning is more than just being able to have your K-12 education. It's also lifelong learning, and the library offers that. You can explore. You don't have to have money. You can travel. You can cook. You can have a new career, and just it's very valuable. It's valuable to the community, and I see the benefit of it, and I like to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other candidates for the library board? So, I didn't see that name on this.
She's on there. So Ms. Parent was filling an expired vacancy for the 1 year.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion to appoint her to the board so she can have a full term.
I second.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. Okay. Move on to public hearings and non-routine items. Let's see. So we're gonna, if Al would give us a quick little update on where we are.
Maybe just we're formally opening the budget hearing for fiscal year 24. So I can give you a quick presentation if y'all want, or you can bypass that, whichever commission prefers. This is the number of conversations we've had on the budget. So do you guys want to?
I don't need one. We've had numerous conversations on it.
Everybody good? It was offered.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to have Brandy make an announcement for us.
All right. Name of taxing authority, the City of Leesburg, Florida. The current year rolled back rate is 3.4752. The proposed millage rate of 3.4752 is 0% higher than the current year rollback rate. The millage rate to be levied, 3.4752 mills per 1,000. On July 10th, the Commission approved the tentative millage rate of 3.4752 mills per 1,000. This is a decrease from the prior fiscal year, whereas the proposed budget was developed using 3.4752 mills per 1,000. Therefore, the tentative millage rate of 3.4752 mills per 1,000 represents a 0% increase from the current year rollback rate, which is attributable to it is not a tax increase under TRIM guidelines.
Thank you, Brandy. We're going to have public comment. Do we have any public comment? Okay, so any questions for Brandy? Anyone from the commission? All right. So we need to ask for the resolution to be introduced.
Ask for the resolution on the millage to be introduced.
Yes. Would someone please introduce?
I'll introduce the millage.
Read by title only.
There
you go.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, finally adopting 3.4752 mills as the fiscal year 2023-24 millage rate for the City of Leesburg, Florida, representing the current year proposed aggregate millage rate of 3.4752, which is 0% more than the current year rollback rate, and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion from the commissioners?
You did it already.
Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. Okay.
Now we move to the budget.
Now we're going to move to the 2023-2024 budget. We have any comments from the public regarding the budget? We need a resolution to be introduced.
I'll introduce 6A6 to be read by title only.
Right.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, adopting the fiscal year 2023-24 budget for the City of Leesburg, Florida, and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any comments from the commission? Any public comment? All right. We'll call for the question. for approval, so we need roll call.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. And Brandy?
The adopted millage rate represents the current year proposed aggregate millage rate of 3.4752 mils per 1,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. At this point, we'll move to second reading of ordinances. Would someone please introduce 6B1?
We'll introduce 6B1 to be read by title only.
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, further amending the City of Leesburg retirement plan for general employees adopted pursuant to ordinance number 18-31 as subsequently amended, amending Section 6, benefit amounts and eligibility, amending Section 5, cost of living adjustment, providing for codification, providing for severability of provisions, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
Discussion? So we had three options on the table. We need to formally.
Yeah, formally, it's go with nothing, go with the retirement at 63, or go with the retirement at 65.
Right.
Our recommendation was to move to amend the plan to allow the COLA to be applied at 63.
I agree with 63. I mean, just I have some history with this, and these employees that are in this, in my opinion, they got the shaft back in 2008 and 9. So I think if we can throw them a little bone here and there, we should.
We're all in agreement there.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So do we have a motion to?
Yeah, I make a motion to go with the 63.
63.
Yes.
A second.
Any discussion? Do we need public comment?
Yeah, just open it to the public.
Any public comment? Barring none, roll call.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. Okay, would someone please introduce 6B2 and 3? And as this is quasi-judicial, after Andy reads, we'll have Grant swear in anyone who wants to offer testimony.
I'll introduce 6B2 and 3 to be read by title only.
6B2, an ordinance amending the comprehensive plan of the City of Leesburg, Florida, changing the future land use map designation of certain property containing 8.03 plus minus acres from medium density residential to high density residential for a multifamily development on a property generally located south of Park Holland Road and east of Pixiola Road, as legally described in Section 15, Township 19 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date. 6B3, an ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, changing the zoning on approximately 8.03 acres from PUD planned unit development and C3 general commercial to SPUD small planned unit development for a property generally located south of Park Holland Road and east of Pixiola Road, as legally described in Section 15, Township 19 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Andy.
And would city staff, the applicant, and any other parties who wish to present any testimony, please stand and raise your right hand so we can swear you in. All right. Do you swear or affirm that all testimony you'll give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, and staff. I'm City Manager Dan Miller, Planning and Zoning. This is a request for a small-scale comprehensive plan and planned unit development zoning. Is generally located on the south side of Park Holland Road and east of Pixiola Road. It would allow for the development of an apartment complex consisting of 144 units on 8 acres. Within that PUD zoning, as this is a second reading, staff did require a significant condition proposed in the zoning in regard to access points. That was to include an additional access that went up out of this project going north on to Park Holland Road. This would benefit both this project and the James Landing project, which we're having discussions about now, and put that access point out on Park Holland, because currently on this complex, if it's built as it's shown in the PUD, which it has to be, you can only go right out going north on Pixiola. So at the first reading, the commission directed the applicant to move forward with that. The applicant did. That deal has been struck with the property to the north, and we're ready for your vote tonight. Mr. Ryan Solstice with Land Planning Group of Mount Dora is here along with the developers. Any questions?
Any questions for
No.
None? Would petitioner like to?
For the record, this is Ryan Solstice, 1162 Camp Avenue, LPG Urban and Regional Planners on behalf of my client. The request before you is a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment. Maybe a slight scrivener's error. It's 1.02 acres that we're changing from commercial to high-density residential. The first reading, we did table the topic. We did hold 2 public meetings, and at both of those public meetings, no one was in attendance. We did move the first one. The first one was held on a Tuesday at 1 o'clock. I advised my client that in order to accommodate the public, we hold one in the evening. We held the subsequent one on June 29th. A Thursday at 6:30 p.m. No one again showed from the public. We are not vacating Shady Drive for that access to Park Holland. So the request before you tonight is only 138 units. It has a decrease in density because we cannot count that road because we are no longer vacating it. We are meeting the active recreation uses on site requirement. And with that, if the board has any questions.
The intent, as Dan brought up, that there will be access from this complex to Park Holland.
Correct. Originally, with the density, we were coming in with 144 units.
Correct.
But we were originally asking to vacate Shady Drive, which is that north-south connection to Park Holland. At this time, because we're not vacating it, we can't count that road for density, the site actually will only have 138 units.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for the petitioner?
So where would the entrance be?
It's still off of Pixiola.
Pixiola still. Okay.
Correct. But there'll still be an access through Park Holland to the site as well.
So even if you were driving out Pixiola, you can go into it, but you cannot come out of the complex and go south on Pixiola to the light. You would have to go to Park Holland,
come down,
and then to Pixiola.
and then come down. Okay.
Yeah, because DOT won't, they're too close, or, they can't have a left turn onto Pixiola there.
So they can build the first phase without the connection. I just want to clarify that because the PUD is pretty clear. Yeah. Before they go to final plat, which they would need to do even on the first phase, before they can build a permit, they have to have that connection to Park Holland secure.
Before they could get a certificate of occupancy, they would have to have that connection
even
going
for
northward.
The lower number of units.
Yes, even with the lower number of units, not going to change. You can only go right out, coming out on Pixiola, and that connection was a part of what staff requested and this commission supported that for safety, because it's simply too close to the connection point between 27 and Pixiola. It's simply too close to go left there. So, but to get a certificate of occupancy, they would have to have that road in place. James Landing is currently in the development review process, so we're confident that it will work out.
Not to beat the dead horse, Dan, but I just want the commission to be clear.
Yes, sir.
Before one unit is occupied,
yes, sir,
they have to have a connection to Park Holland.
All the way through.
The road built.
That's correct.
And that would include us approving the plat. We'd have to have that.
What plat?
Actually.
The plat would not be required.
It's a site plan,
But they have to have the road connected before one unit can be occupied.
Yes, sir. It says this second access must be available at the time of the site plan review by the City of Leesburg and must be shown on the final plat as providing dedicated right-of-way for this required access. That's right.
The word plat should have been plan instead of a T and N. My error.
So what does that mean?
You should amend that Scrivener's error, because that's a big deal.
Yes,
I agree with that.
We can correct the wording. I'll work with the city attorney, but we can correct the wording so that
Final site plan.
it should have said
I
final
would stick
site
in there
plan.
for any phase.
Okay, we will do that. Yes,
Road's
sir.
got to be built.
I appreciate you catching that because I did not know it was there.
Okay. Any other questions?
You might want. I don't think there's a motion yet.
No, there's not.
So when you do, remember that. And that was paragraph.
Any more? I'm just doing any more questions for the
10A.
petitioner right now. Okay. We'll do that during deliberation. So, comments from the public? Any public comment on this development? No public comment? Commission deliberation?
Happy they're getting a second entrance.
So what is it?
Well, you need a motion on the floor to adopt this, but you want to amend the PUD, and you specifically want to amend paragraph 10A to change the word from plat. Final, did it say final plat?
It says final plat.
So you want to amend that sentence to say, upon submission and approval of any site plan for any phase, has to be connected to Park Holland.
I'll make a motion with what Al just said.
So approving the plan, so I think the commissioners, is to approve the ordinance with the wording modification, as I said.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. That's the motion on the table.
So is that the motion for B2 or B3?
That would be
Or that together?
B3, correct.
B3. That'd be
Right.
B3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a motion on the table on B3, but we should probably do B. Yeah,
Let's do B2 before we do B3. Yeah.
Before, can you table that, or pull that off just for a second?
I'll pull that motion.
Yes. So let's vote. Let's have any other discussion on 6B2? Roll call.
I need a motion.
We've already introduced it, right?
We introduced them, but we need a motion and a
Move for approval on 6B2.
No motion on this one, yes.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Andy.
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. Okay. Now can we get
I'll make a motion to approve 6B3.
Second.
discussion?
I'd like to amend the verbiage on section 10A from plat to plan and for the final site plan to any phase, correct? For any phase.
Connection has to be made prior to any phase.
We have a motion on the table. Can we get a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Okay. We'll have a roll call on the amendment to first.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. Now could we have a motion to approve the amended?
I'll make a motion to approve the amended motion.
Second.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. Okay. So let's move on to first reading of ordinances. Will someone please introduce 6C1?
I'll introduce 6C1 to be read by title only.
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, correcting a Scrivener's error on Ordinance 22-17, Hills at Leesburg, pertaining to side setbacks and adding a requirement for gutters for property consisting of approximately 41.69 acres and being generally located east of County Road 44 and north of Sing Road, as legally described in Section 1, Township 19 South, Range 25 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
This is a first reading, so it'll lay over. I think this was just a Scrivener error. Is that correct, Dan? Yes. So we're fixing that on a first reading. Any other questions from? And this will lay over till
October 9th.
October 9th will be the second reading on that item. We'll move on to item 6B D1. Somebody please.
I'll introduce 6D1 to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, requesting approval to proceed with the special event permitting process for the Shamrocking Barbecue and Beer Festival event on March 15th, 16th, 2024, and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
Let's let Travis, and then maybe we can have some discussion after we hear.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor. Travis Rima, Director of Recreation. We received an application from Mr. Brian Gamble on behalf of the Firefighters Non-for-Profit for Central Florida. It's a two-day event downtown. The original request had them shutting down a good portion of Main Street, so we wanted to make sure we brought it to you guys, get approval, make sure the downtown was aware and accepting of it. We thought with going through this special event transition, it'd be a good time to bring it up to you guys and let you see it, give us the go-ahead. They would still have to go through the whole special event process. This isn't jumping that. This is just telling us to go ahead with that process. I think Mr. Gamble's here. I've never met him face to face. Come on up. I guess if you guys have any questions for him.
When you said significant portion of Main Street, what are we talking
So
about?
it originally was going to be from 5th Street to 9th Street. Now, as of this morning, it changed just 5th to 6th, so just right out here in front of City Hall. It also includes coming down 5th and 6th Street to about even with the building of City Hall. So it did shorten up that Main Street closure pretty significantly.
Okay, so just on each side of us here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And the front on actual Main.
Right.
Yep.
Shutting down Main in between them.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Any other questions for Travis? Mr. Gamble?
Brian Gamble with the Firefighter Charity of Central Florida. So our original concept was to involve the businesses as much as possible downtown. We're a local charity. We believe in giving back local. So we wanted to, I'm a local person, and so we wanted to make sure that we involved the local businesses. So that was the reason why we had extended the portion of the shutdown to kind of be a street festival so people could walk by the businesses. We went and talked to several of the businesses. I think most of them were on board. Some were not. Obviously, when you shut down a street in front of them. I think we talked with Melissa, the owners of McCracken's too. The concept was basically to kind of have a street festival between Main, the clock, and that end of McCracken's into the street, because they did something last year, and we didn't want to. We're not here to steal business. Our goal is to bring what would normally bring in for our attendance of our event to add to the city of Leesburg. So that was the concept. From the feedback, I think with the Downtown Leesburg Business Association that I got from this morning was, I guess, one of the bigger concerns was shutting down that portion of the street. So we made concessions. We have no problem if they don't want that street shut down. We could do it just like a normal chili cook-off, where you just shut down a section right in front of the bank. So that's not a problem with us. We're willing. We want everybody to be happy. We're trying to create a festival that could really grow. We're not trying to steal St. Patrick's business, because that's why it's an Irish festival, because we're trying to actually grow their business, because St. Patrick's Day, people usually traditionally come out on St. Patrick's Day, whether it's Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. So this will give the businesses an opportunity to gain business on a weekend, because we're going to keep it on the weekend, usually the weekend before. So that Friday, Saturday. It is a state-selected, this is our first year being a state-selected site, championship site for the Florida Barbecue Association. So it's going to be a big event for us that we feel. We've been growing year after year. We've had it at Gator Harley. We've had a great relationship with them. We've just kind of outgrown the venue down there now with this event, with the attendance. So we're trying to see if we can make it work downtown Leesburg. It came at a bad time with you guys, because I know you guys what's going on with the events and whatnot. And we had actually talked with the partnership, and they were going to kind of help us walk through it. They liked the idea, and then we all know just happened there. So we're kind of on our own. So I'm trying to do my best to be a liaison with the downtown businesses. I don't know all of them, but we used to have a small business in Leesburg at the mall years ago, and so I don't want to hurt anybody's business, but we want to grow on that. So that's our concept. We did talk about doing a parade. That might be too costly for us to do, looking at the cost that we got back for law enforcement. It's something we'd like to do, but just kind of, again, this is a family event. Bring families out. We want to target the the development South Leesburg. Get them up here. This isn't targeting other communities, villages that have their own thing, but this is something that we could grow for the city of Leesburg. The purpose of our event is to raise money for our charity, but also to one of our funds is to help local firefighters that are injured, that is not in line of duty, PTSD, cancer, stuff like that. That's the fund that we're raising money for with this event. So if I can answer any questions, or if any businesses have concerns, that's what I'm here to answer for.
So in your previous, what type of numbers are you talking about? How many people?
So like last year we had right around 1,500 in attendance over the 2 days of Friday, Saturday. So it starts out Friday night. The teams are cooking. We do tasting. We do special needs cook. We do a youth cook where we give a scholarship back to a local youth so they can continue their culinary career. And then Saturday is the big day. Just like I'm sure you guys have all attended the barbecue. We used to have barbecue downtown Leesburg, yes. And I know that kind of went away. So we're trying to bring it back. We've been doing this for 10 years. This will be our 11th year doing it. So we're hoping for those numbers, if not an increase. It's not a Bike Fest event, that's for sure. It's more of we're a smaller event, but we're hoping to grow it.
Okay. Any other questions?
Will there be a parade, or there will not be a parade?
It is in our application. But like I said, I'm getting the cost back, and it might be prohibitive on the parades, which we can come back to you guys once we make a final decision on that. It's just we're starting to get numbers back on it was basically the law enforcement numbers of because they have to control the streets and stuff, and we only have a set budget that we can go with on that. So if we can it depends on our sponsorship. If we have higher sponsorship, then yeah, we'd love to have a parade. If that's what the businesses want, because I think that something that's unique that brings people out. They're after the parade they usually follow and walk out the street. Now you have your new ordinance for the party district, I believe what it's called, entertainment district. So it's encourage people to be out there in front of the businesses.
So the parade is before, and then you go on into the barbecue.
Correct. The parade, the goal for the parade would be Saturday morning.
Saturday morning,
yeah,
and then the event
like 10
continues
o'clock,
from
be
there.
done by 12, and then we open the gates, because it is gated on one portion of it for the tasting. That's how we make our money, is selling tickets. And then one portion of it will be open, where we planned on having music. We talked about with McCracken, it's about rotating, so we don't have a conflicting schedule. We're not competing with each other, we're complementing each other. That was our goal. But like I said, we'll get back with you guys on the parade as we get our sponsorships.
Any other questions?
I've attended this event the last couple of years. It's a very good turnout, good event.
Yeah, we're going to have. Any other questions for Campbell? Public comment.
Hi, Melissa McCracken, owners of McCracken's Pub, 1350 Selman Road, Leesburg. We did about 1,800 in attendance for our first little festival, and we're totally down with closing more than just that one block area. I know some of the other businesses don't agree with us, but I think that it will actually bring more attendance and bring more people to the area if we do close that 4-block area, and we're open to the parade idea too. Once he told us more about his plan, we really opened up to his ideas, and we would love to work with him on this event. So I think that if he's going to bring 1,500 to 2,000, and we did 1,800 last year, and I can bring that up to another 200 or so, we could have a 4,000 person event. And if we had the parade, we could probably get another 2,000, which would bring 6,000 people downtown for that weekend. And I think that would be great for all the businesses involved, regardless of street closures. Everyone's going to make money in downtown.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
I have one more question.
Sure.
How would you incorporate the other businesses on the other end of Maine, the restaurants on the other end? It'll be all open as well? I'm trying to picture where you envision. I know.
Right. Well, we don't want to bite off more than we can chew
Okay.
the first year.
So you're just looking on one end.
So we're just looking on the one end.
So the rest of the street would be open.
The rest of the street would be open except for during the parade.
Okay.
Yeah, just like your normal parade route. Correct.
Any other comments from the public? Any other comments from the commission? Roll call.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Eastman?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. All right. We'll move on to item 7, informational report.
Just for clarification, that's shutting down the whole.
No.
That was just 5th and
That's
6th.
just shutting down between 5th and just this.
And if he wants to close down the rest of it, he'll come back to us?
He'll come back to us with parade.
With the parade. Okay, if there's a parade. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to informational reports. Any question on the financials? Anybody have any comment? Any city attorney items?
No, sir, no items this evening.
City manager items?
No items for you.
Roll call.
Commissioner Berry?
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Connell?
I do have one. I'm not sure if this is an appropriate place to discuss it, but the pending litigation on the Sunnyside, do we have any update on that? Or is that something we can discuss openly right now, or does that need to be done in a private meeting?
Yeah, that one I don't know about, Commissioner. I actually was conflicted out of that particular
Well, sure. I know you
dispute.
weren't the one representing.
Yeah, so I'm fully out of the loop
Yeah,
on that one.
I'll get a report back to the commission. We had the hearing in August.
The hearing
was it?
was
August?
a month or
Something
so
like
ago,
that.
I think.
And so after the hearing, each side, the attorney, Mr. Spain, for the developers had, I think the magistrate gave them 30 or 45 days to write a recommended order, if you would. So then I think he was going to take another 40. So once he got the so each side had the opportunity to provide a written recommended order for the special magistrate to consider, which is typical for those type of cases, and then the special magistrate takes those orders to help them formulate what their final order was. So when we left that, I was thinking that I think he wanted 90 days on that, so that would have been 90 days from late July. But let me get back with special counsel on that, which is Briones and Briones, and I'll get you an update. I anticipated you probably should have the recommended order from the special magistrate in pretty short time. Then based on that order, both parties have to agree to the order. If both parties, one or the other party does not agree to that order, then it would move to the next level, which is a hearing before the circuit court. So let me confirm when that recommended order from the special magistrate comes back to you. It should be pretty soon.
That's it.
Commissioner Eastman?
Yes. Al, could you give us an update on where we're at with Pine Street? I've had a couple people reach out to me.
Pine Street is about ready to start construction. Public Works has been working with the folks there. Step 1 is going to be, which probably will start here in the next couple of weeks, which is going to be to build the parking lot, the CDC parking lot. That parking lot is kind of in the middle of the block, so the middle of the block being south of Pine, between Canal and Childs, more towards the Child side, and the permanent entry actually goes out to Child. So step 1 is going to be to get that parking lot built, so that will help us close down that section of Pine, and then the businesses will still be able to be patronized. I know it's an inconvenience to have Pine Street closed, but they'll still have parking, and we'll have proper signage. We'll get back with the owners of those businesses to let them know exactly when that closure is coming, and we've been working with them on when the parking lot should be. So you should see construction starting probably in the next couple of weeks.
There's a lot of dirt out there already, I think.
That's from Pat Thomas.
Just on that. That's a Pat Thomas dirt that's at the ball field, because as a staging area, doesn't have any connection with the Pine Street project.
Will there be access from Pine to the hospital that way, or will that be?
That section between on Pine from Canal to Childs, that section will be closed.
Okay.
But the rest of Pine will be open.
Okay.
Childs is open too, correct?
Childs will be open.
To go to Dixie, and then you can
Right.
get to the hospital that way.
Main Street or-
Okay.
Yes.
The last time I brought it up a couple months ago, and Chief had said that Governor DeSantis signed something into law about the gambling in the strip malls. It's been outlawed. Can we do anything about that? I know a lot of it's in the county, but within the city.
They're in the city, yeah.
Yeah, but
It's
can we
everything,
work
yeah.
with the county and do something about that? So
Yeah, let me get offline
That's
with
fine.
you on that and get up with the chief.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
up to
fine.
speed on that one.
that'll be it for me.
Mayor Burry.
Nothing tonight. Get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We're done. Thank you.